Jesus starts out in verse 21 in the section on the Mount referencing the sixth of the Ten Commandments, originally delivered to us by Moses through the books of Exodus and Deuteronomy from the Hebrew Bible. Some of you know. He starts out in 21. Ye have heard that it was said of them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. Old time certainly can be seen as a reference to Moses' unveiling the 10 commandments, the sixth of those, thou shalt not kill, on the surface can be taken literally. The physical act of taking someone's life. Which goes along very nicely with the often perceived focus of the physical realm that is frequently cited in the Hebrew Bible. A lot of gnashing of teeth, right? That type of thing. However, let's explore the 10 Commandments for a moment and review what we know about them. Okay? First of all, the exact translation from Hebrew to Greek of the title is not the 10 Commandments at all. Anybody know what it is? It's the 10 statements. It's not the commandments, it's the 10 statements. A commandment from God doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me as a human who is supposed to have free will. Why give me free will and then impose a commandment on me? It also doesn't seem to fit well with the New Thought movement, where many believe that there is no separation between God and us. When we read the 10 Commandments literally, we go back to the Hebrew Bible, would it not appear, is the sense that you get, that these commandments are coming from a God in the clouds with a long flowing beard who may be keeping a naughty and nice list, a checklist for each of us, supremely interested in keeping us in line, pitiful sinners that we are, can't be trusted. Or maybe we believe, for those of us who believe that we are one with God, that we are somehow commanding ourselves. Let's also remember that these statements are presented on two massive stone tablets. Etched in stone, you've heard that. It's etched in stone, or it's not etched in stone, you know. It's etched in stone in this case. No room for interpretation or change. They are presented as unchanging and immovable. As we analyze it, though, how many of us would be free to grow and evolve and come from our Christ selves as a practice if there are these hard and fast commandments, supposedly from a loving God? It's incongruent with the idea that we are made in the image and likeness of God. If God is all good, then surely, as the divine offspring of God, we must be all good too. So ask yourself then, why would a person who is all good need to be treated like a defiant, ruly 2-year-old with strict, hard and fast commandments, as if we are bent on and have a great desire to do the wrong thing instead of being drawn to the right, loving act? Wouldn't it make more sense that the offspring of God would set out on an earthly path of discovering, or perhaps rediscovering in some cases, our true divine essence, a waking up instead of a shaking up? I don't know about you, but my spiritual evolution has been far more gentle than this depicted fire and brimstone type of path. God whispers to me. God whispers to me by way of inner promptings and subtle sensations. I get messages in my dreams that carry divine wisdom. And those messages for me are never wrapped in fear, but instead they float in love. There have been no thunderous bolts of lightnings or seas parting or bushes burning for me lately. We're not trying to run from all that is bad, wrong, and evil in us, but trying to reconnect, remember, and become more receptive to our divine essence, God's wonderful children. That's the difference right there. Right there. We are not miserable sinners that need a checklist of right and wrong, but wonderful divine children of a loving God that are in the process of reconnecting with our true selves. That's who we are. That's who we are. So when something doesn't sit quite right with me or make much sense, it's a clue for me to look even deeper. Look beyond the apparent message on the surface of the statement to that deeper, more meaningful meaning behind the surface. And now before we do, I just want to make it very clear. I'm not saying for those who interpret the 10 Commandments or statements purely literally that that's a bad thing. Not at all. We all have a path to walk on this incarnation, and if that resonates with you or anybody else, go with that. That's perfectly fine. In fact, there's wisdom to it. It reminds me of the Buddhist philosophy, where they literally believe in killing nothing. Not an ant, not a flea, and in most cases, not animals for food. They literally take that on its surface. Thou shalt not kill. So there are many things that we can get out of that one statement, and I encourage us all to go within and meditate in your own time, if you take it as a challenge, on these 10 statements, and see what they might mean to you personally. That's the real work. How are you moved to apply these statements to your life? But as for me, I'm called to something a bit different than just a strict literal interpretation. Okay, so that's the background. Now with that said, what else could thou shalt not kill possibly mean? Because I've already determined for myself that it has to be more than just a literal interpretation. So what else could it mean? Is there another meaning beyond the obvious that may help me to be a more evolved person, to become increasingly more aware of my connection to God in my Christ self? Let us start with Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, from the Metaphysical Bible. If we were to read his interpretation of the 10 Commandments on the whole, there's two very important things that he tells us. Number one, the name Moses means drawing out or extracting, and the name Egypt signifies the darkness of ignorance. Okay? So, if Moses, meaning drawing out or extracting, went up to the mountaintop, which metaphysically speaking means higher realms of consciousness, right, to deliver these statements, would it not seem to imply that humans are coming out of the darkness of a lower state of consciousness, say sense consciousness, those things that we could relate to only with our senses, and we're being led to something far greater, more valuable, beyond the surface, the material or the physical realm? Would it not make sense? So if this is so and it makes sense to you, then these 10 Commandments are to steer us, refocus us, awaken us to this higher realm. Like everything else we do in Unity. Isn't it all about seeing past the physical experience to something greater? How do we ever make transformation? How do any of us who are ill, like I was this year, see past that to our true divine essence and get well? How do we do it? Whether we take pills, whether we use metaphysical mind treatments, how do we do it? We're looking past experiences. That's the whole gig here, guys, and it's to get better and better at that. And that's exactly what Jesus is going to help us with in this part of the Sermon on the Mount. That's what I say these passages 21 through 26 are about. To get beyond the surface meaning to what is more valuable and helpful to us, his beloved. He will take us on a journey of expanding this law past the physical. The physical is one level. We're going to higher levels with the help of Jesus, the Master Teacher. So, in how many ways can we kill? Taking literal view, we've spoken before, we can physically take someone's life. But can we kill someone's spirit? How have we done this, or have had it done to us? Name calling, demeaning acts or language, promoting ourselves at someone else's expense, setting up what is commonly known as the win-lose scenario. That is, if I win, one or several other people have to lose. If you win, several of us have to lose. There is no mutually beneficial outcome. Lying about people, cheating people, emotional abuse of all kinds, putting down another's religion or spiritual practice, interfering in any way with another spiritual group, or evolution, or divine purpose through this incarnation. In short, the type of killing that I'm talking about here could be defined as moving in the opposite direction of good, what is uplifting, and what is of God. We can kill people, animals, the environment, a race, a religion, a person's reputation, the reputation of a business through using Twitter, Facebook, or Angie's List with one click of a button. Can't we? And it goes on, and people do. And get this, folks, all right? If we are all connected, then when we do or aim at anyone else, on some level, I'm doing to myself, and I'm doing to God. Period. Which is exactly why when we turn this whole thing around, when we do something kind for another, we feel so lighthearted, we feel that light, lovely feeling that stays with us. The act of kindness was not directed towards us, yet we get the full dose of that act, as if it were. So now we go into verse 22, and Jesus says this, "But I say unto you, that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whoever shall say to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council, but whoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire." You take that on the surface, you're seeing little men in funny devil suits with pitchforks, right? It's not how I see it. He uses